Buried in The Sims 2's code are traces of 14 neighborhoods, but only 3 were ever meant to be seen. Some were early versions of the 3 neighborhoods we've come to know and love. Others were entirely separate worlds with their own terrain, families, and stories. Scrapped. Their families erased, their streets abandoned. All that remains are fragments, IDs, loading screens, and ghostly fly-throughs, haunting the game's files, waiting to be found. Hello everyone, and welcome to TheSimsLore. Today we're digging up Riverside, Waterside, Sedona, and more, the lost worlds of The Sims 2. These aren't just cut maps, they're glimpses into what Pleasantview or Strangetown could have been. So grab your snacks and let me know what you're having in that snack report while I tell you what's in mine. Autumn and Halloween are one of my favourite times of year where I can get cozy under a blanket, read a good book, and eat my favourite snacks while sipping some tea. So you can imagine how excited I was to hear my doorbell ring and see that the TokyoTreat and Sakuraco boxes were delivered. If you haven't heard of them, TokyoTreat and Sakuraco are 2 unique monthly snack boxes that let you experience Japan from the comfort of your own home. TokyoTreat is all about Japan's coolest and craziest modern snacks. We're talking limited edition KitKats, seasonal chips, noodles, and candy you'd never find at your local shop. All shipped straight from Japan to your door. Sakuraco is more traditional, curated artisan treats like mochi, dorayaki, manju, and other regional specialities. Each box comes with a signature Japanese tea and a beautiful homeware item made to support local makers across Japan. TokyoTreat is going full spooky season with a Snacktacular Halloween theme, apple pie KitKats, ghoul-licious garlic chips, Halloween custard cake, and even Tabeko trick-or-treat biscuits. Japan releases special Halloween snacks every year, and these won't be around for long. Sakuraco is embracing Nikko's autumn splendor. Nikko's temples and forests turn bright red and gold this time of year, and the snacks reflect that. Sweet Potato Yokan, Momiji Manju, Walnut Mochi, Neko Yuba chips, they pair beautifully with the included autumn Sencha tea. And I have to show you this month's homeware item, this gorgeous Neko Furoshiki cloth. The box designs are incredible. I mean, this has to be my favorite one yet from TokyoTreat. It's just gorgeous. Did I already mention I love Halloween? From TokyoTreat, I loved the creepy and crispy corn bites, so crunchy and umami. The ghoul-licious garlic chips are so tasty and not too spicy. The flavors are just the right amount of garlic and spices. And the purple potion gummies are so tasty with that classic Japanese ramune grape flavor. But the star of the show has to be the apple pie KitKats. Oh my god, you guys, I cannot explain how good these are. They taste like a Halloween candle, but in the best way possible. You have to try it for yourself. Just buy the box just for this. From Sakuraco, I brewed the autumn Sencha and paired it with the Momiji Manju. Warm tea and maple leaf shaped cake. Instant cozy autumn vibes. The Walnut Mochi was another favorite. It was really soft, nutty, and comforting. Both boxes also come with cultural booklets. They've got snack descriptions, allergy information, and fun articles like the traditions behind Japanese Halloween and the autumn colours in Nikko. So if you want to bring a little Japan into your autumn season, whether it's spooky Halloween candy or cozy teas, or both, order by the 15th of October and use code TheSimsLore to get money off your first box. It helps support the channel and gives you something delicious to look forward to every month. And if you try it, let me know your weirdest or favourite snack moments. I want to hear all about it. Huge thanks again to TokyoTreat and Sakuraco for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And now, let's get into the lore. The Sims 2 shipped with 3 neighbourhoods, Pleasantview, Strangetown, and Veronaville. But in early development, the game's world map looked very different. Pleasantview was called Pleasantville, Strangetown was Strangeville, and Veronaville, it went by Europa. Hidden deep in the game files are 14 neighbourhood entries, including worlds that never made it to release. So let's have a closer look at the history of Pleasantview and what the code might hide. Before it became the drama-filled suburb we know and love, Pleasantview began its life as Pleasantville, a nod to its predecessor, Simsville. Originally, there wasn't even a plan to have multiple neighbourhoods. Pleasantville was the first and only one in development. That changed when multi-neighborhood functionality came online and the team decided to create 3 distinct worlds. This preliminary title even used the neighborhood ID N003, the same ID later reassigned to Veronaville. At that point, Pleasantville became Pleasantview, partly to avoid having 2 Ville neighborhoods, alongside Veronaville, and partly because the name worked better with the other titles. The purpose of Pleasantview was to showcase The Sims 2's most important new feature, aging. Families were created to represent every life stage: a single mother with 3 children, parents with teens, a wealthy elder with much younger romantic partners. With new tools like ethnicity variation, sexual orientation, and the memory system, the neighborhood's cast became more diverse and layered than anything in The Sims 1. The addition of family trees and tombstones carrying real data for deceased Sims pushed the storytelling further. The team aged the Goth family forward by 25 years, made Cassandra an adult, and staged the disappearance of Bella Goth as a central mystery. Big life moments like weddings and birthdays were preloaded to occur within the first few minutes of play, doubling as a tutorial and as an immediate hook for players. Pleasantview's map reflects its stories. A trailer park in the north where the broke struggle to get by, a condo district in the northeast home to Dawn and the Caliente sisters, suburban homes filling the central blocks, waterfront mansions along Wright Way where Mortimer Goth lives in seclusion with his 2 children, and the drama is embedded in every household. Cassandra Goth is engaged to Don Lothario, the last man seen with her missing mother. Brandy Broke is widowed, pregnant, and raising 2 sons alone after her husband's suspicious pool ladder accident. The Caliente sisters have just moved in, bringing glamour, ambition, and secrets. Their arrival perfectly timed with Bella's disappearance. Darren Dreamer quietly loves Cassandra from afar while raising his teenage son Dirk. Fans have also speculated a connection between Pleasantville and the 1998 film Pleasantville, which, by the way, is a fantastic film, especially since some Sims share names like Mary Sue and Jennifer. However, lead producer Jonathan Knight clarified he hadn't seen the movie, suggesting the name's origins was purely coincidental. So what began as a block of test data evolved into a living, interconnected community, one that could teach players the mechanics while drawing them into an unfolding drama. Veronaville was born from a single visual spark, a Tudor-style build set in the Sims 2 catalogue. The development team wanted to showcase those assets, and for Jonathan Knight, the neighbourhood's lead creator and a lifelong Shakespeare enthusiast, the direction was obvious. Combine the Tudor aesthetic with the game's teen, romance, and enemy systems, and you have the perfect stage for a modern retelling of Romeo and Juliet. Even the name Veronaville is layered. It nods to Verona, Italy, the setting of Shakespeare's most famous love story, while keeping the suburban naming convention of the Sims series. The neighbourhood is split down the middle by a narrow body of water, the Italian side with Mediterranean-inspired homes representing Verona, and the English side with architecture inspired by Stratford-upon-Avon.
Stratford-upon-Avon.
Shakespeare's hometown. Street names are all references to his work: Bard Boulevard, Pentameter Parkway, Poet Place, and Avon Avenue. Avon Avenue? Anyway. 2 families dominate the neighbourhood, the Montes and the Caps. The Montes, inspired by the Montagues, include Patrizio, Isabella, Romeo, and Mercutio. The Caps, representing the Capulets, include Consort, Juliet, Tybalt. Okay, I'm doing really well here. And Hermia. Their names pull from multiple Shakespeare plays: Romeo and Juliet, Measure for Measure, and A Midsummer Night's Dream. A third family, the Summer Dreams, draws entirely from A Midsummer Night's Dream. Titania, Oberon, Puck, and Bottom. They bring a surreal, whimsical flair to the otherwise tense feud, dressed in fantastical costumes and makeup. The neighbourhood's story is clear from the moment you load in. Patrizio Monti never forgave Consort Cap for a broken promise. Now Romeo Monti and Juliet Cap have fallen for each other, echoing the original star-crossed lovers. The game poses the question, will the elders live to see the 2 families united, or will history repeat itself? Unlike the fixed ending of Shakespeare's play, The Sims 2 gives players control. You can unite the families in peace, or steer them towards an even bloodier feud. Jonathan Knight calls Veronaville his favourite of the 3 base game neighbourhoods, but it's also the simplest technically. Without Pleasantview's timed life events or Strangetown's alien abduction scripting, Veronaville was likely finished first, sitting in the can while the others were polished. Strangetown was a deliberate contrast to Pleasantview's lush suburban calm. The design brief was simple: create a neighbourhood that could hold all the paranormal, science fiction and conspiracy elements The Sims was known for. The desert terrain instantly evoked the feel of Area 51, dry, isolated and steeped in mystery. From the start, Strangetown was meant to be the game's sci-fi playground. Alien abduction, male pregnancy, mad science experiments, ghosts, and genetic oddities. Jonathan Knight described it as a no-brainer, the perfect thematic counterpart to the base game's other 2 worlds. The neighborhood's main families are pure archetype, built to embody conspiracy tropes. The Beakers, a pair of eccentric scientists, Loki and Circe conducting questionable experiments on nervous subject. The Curious Brothers, Pascal, Vidkund and Laszlo, geeky household inspired by UFO enthusiast stereotypes. One is already pregnant via alien abduction when you start the game. The Smiths, an interspecies family with an alien father, Pollination Technician 9, raising human-alien hybrid children alongside a human spouse. The Grunts, a military patriarch, General Buzz Grunt, raising 3 sons under strict discipline, his household embodying the stereotypical Area 51 cover-up angle. Even the names reinforce the theme. Vidkund and Laszlo were suggested by designer Charles London, and Knight admits many were intentionally groaners, pulp tropes made playable. The alien pregnancy storyline was only possible because the Sims 2 news simulation system could handle male pregnancy. While this was disabled for normal gameplay, the devs scripted in for Strangetown, preloading a baby with alien DNA so it would be born shortly after the player started. While Strangetown doesn't have the carefully staged big life moments of Pleasantview, it is tightly constructed to push its own narrative arcs. Each household starts mid-story, experiments in progress, pregnancies underway, family rivalries established. The desert setting and its stark isolation make the supernatural elements feel even stranger, almost as if the whole town is one giant government experiment and you've just moved in. Before Pleasantview became the suburban heart of The Sims 2, there was Riverside. Internally labelled N008-Z Riverside, it was built as the original default neighbourhood during the game's development. Its terrain was identical to Pleasantview's, the same winding river valley, but the road layout and lots were different. We know Riverside existed because traces of it remain in Maxis's development files, accidentally preserved in the Sims Life Stories testing scripts from February 2004. Those scripts list 14 neighbourhoods active in development at the time, including Riverside. Pleasantview appears twice in that list, once as N014 and once as N001, implying that the Pleasantview we know today was created later in the development cycle after Riverside had already been built and cut. The surviving evidence suggests Riverside may have been featured in early promotional previews such as this fly-through playing right now. Footage from pre-release demos does show Sims and lots that don't appear in the final game, leading many fans to suspect they were Riverside households. So why cut it? The likeliest answer is narrative direction. Riverside had the shell of a suburban map, but Pleasantview was designed to take full advantage of The Sims 2's new features: aging, memories, and interconnected family drama. By reusing Riverside's terrain, the team could save months of world building while reshaping the lots, families, and stories into something that fit the final version. No complete copy of the original Riverside has surfaced, but fan detectives have pieced together fragments from screenshots, leftover file data, and early footage. In 2014, the Riverside group released a full playable recreation based on an earlier unfinished attempt by THSMS204. This version presents Riverside as a serene neighbourhood of varied architecture, wedged between river and mountains with parks and tree-lined streets. But even the most faithful fan recreation can't fully restore the relationships and histories that might have made the original Riverside unique. And so Riverside remains a ghost neighborhood, a prototype Pleasantview that never saw release. Waterside is the unreleased The Sims 2 neighborhood you've actually seen, just never as a playable world. Waterside was a fully set up neighborhood used in pre-release previews and producer demos. It appears in the internal list of development neighborhoods as N013, Waterside, with notes indicating it was intended to ship alongside Pleasantview, Strangetown and Veronaville. Its name and description are referenced in the files neighborhoodmanager.package and thumbnailsfamily.txt. Waterside is the setting of the E3 2004 hands-on demo described by executive producer Tim Letourneau. A birthday party at the Baxter home where Don Baxter flirts with Dina, gets caught by Sarah's sister Virginia, and chaos ensues, used to showcase wants and fears and emergent drama. The Baxter family, Don, Sarah and Alex, are documented promotional Sims tied to Waterside. Official promo compilations also list close relations, Virginia, Jeremy, Chadwick, and Waterside Dina, Don's former flame, with screenshots and a surviving Waterside description text. You can't really make much out, but it kind of says, several Waterside lots were later reused, some in Pleasantview, some in the lots and houses bin. An edited aerial shot of Waterside became the blue loading screen background you see when launching the retail game. Waterside has an entry in neighborhoodmanager.package. Unlike Riverside, its text strings are missing. Devtext lotspec.txt indicates a spec family planned to live at Little Charmer 1 bedroom 1 bathroom. The Don Baxter and Dina storyline previewed in Waterside maps onto Pleasantview's shipped cast, Don Lothario and Dina Caliente. A continuity noted by documentation that collates the pre-release material. No original Max's neighborhood package for Waterside has been released to the public. What we know comes from the E3 2004 write-up, producer demo footage and file references. The most complete fan recreation by the neighborhood builder /George.English01 on Mod The Sims clearly labels what's based on footage versus additions, made to create a playable hood, and it links the period videos it drew from. So bottom line really is that Waterside is the playable melodrama Max's used to prove what The Sims 2 could do. Shown at E3 2004, referenced in the files and immortalized in the game's loading screen, then folded into Pleasantview's shipped cast and storylines. A neighborhood called Sedona is referenced in the neighborhoodmanager.package, but no playable data ships with the base game. It likely represented an early desert-themed concept, a precursor or alternate to Strangetown, and is associated with a Sedona neighborhood template that exists in the base game files. Crucially, Sedona has an unused camera fly-through still wired up. Rename any neighborhood to Sedona and the intro will play. Fans can try a community take on the idea. The Hood building group released a Sedona neighborhood, populated or empty, on Mod The Sims, and also showcased it on video. While it's a fan build and not an EA original, it's a solid way to visualize how an official Sedona might have felt. Lakeview is even more elusive. The only surviving evidence is an unused fly-through tied to the name. Some players consider it an early incarnation of Riverside or Pleasantview because of its vibe, but there's no ship data to confirm it, just the camera route. Between Riverside and Waterside in dev lists, Sedona's file references and fly-through, and Lakeview's orphaned camera path, you can trace the outline of the Sims 2 alternate timeline. Prototypes used for testing, demos, and narrative experiments that were ultimately folded into the 3 neighborhoods we got. Pleasantview inherits Riverside's terrain, Waterside's Don and Dina melodrama becomes Don Lothario and Dina Caliente, and the unused fly-throughs stand as film reels from a cut of the game we never played. The result is a map of 14 neighborhoods in the code, and a reminder that the world of The Sims 2 was once bigger, stranger, and more fluid than the box ever showed. Alright guys, there you have it, everything there is to know about the unreleased neighborhoods of The Sims 2. Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments below. I would also like to thank my patrons NegativeDanna, Jolina Lini, Treats4Chewie and KGSprings. Thank you all so much for supporting my channel. That's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video if you enjoyed it and let me know your theories in the comments below. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more lore and updates. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!